Mysterious Twins Part 6.
At Joy's house.
Two guys dressed in hoodies with face masks were sipping drinks at Joy's sitting room. Joy came out of her room with her nightwear and was terrified at the sight of the guys. She asked, "Who are you? How did you get in here? And who are you looking for?" Her voice was shaking as she was talking to them. One of the guys answered, said, "We've been here waiting for you to be awake. Be our guest, please." He further said, "If you cooperate with us, we won't hurt you. But if you don't, we will surely hurt you and still take you with us." They gave her a black hoodie and a face mask to wear, and they dragged her out of her house into the car and drove off.
At Bobby's house.
Bobby said to Kamsi, "You looked worried since you came back home from strolling yesterday evening. I hope all is well." Kamsi stared at him without saying a word. She then got up and left for her room. On getting to her room, she said to herself, "It's 4 hours countdown to the 24 hours. Those guys sounded serious. What can I do now? Oh, who do I ask for money? The money I'm supposed to pay them got stuck in my account. My bank asked me to do some verifications before I could access my money. And the process will take 5 working days. Oh, God, help me out." Her thoughts got paused when a call came in and a male voice said, "The same teeth that the dog uses to play with her child are the same ones he uses to bite. If you don't pay up at exactly 5 p.m. today, we will do the next on our agenda. Be warned." Call ended. Kamsi was filled with fear. Then she tried to call back, but the line was not connecting, and she said, "I must talk to Bobby. He must help me out of this."
At the hospital.
Dr. Sasa was invited by the management of International Hospital for a brief meeting. As she entered into the hall, she was amazed to see the place exceptionally decorated, and Dr. Martins, that was already in the hall, asked her to sit down. She said, "I thought we are only having a meeting. How come this place was designed like this?" Dr. Martin's phone alarm rang, and immediately, doctors and nurses came out from their hidden and croused. "Happy birthday, Dr. Sasa." Sasa was dumbfounded. Then the medical director, Dr. Glory, said, "Dr. Sasa, I was here the day you resumed duty. And your height got me worried when your employment job description got to my table for approval. The thought of how you would cope with the standard of this hospital ran through my mind, and I decided to give you unwavering attention from afar. To my amazement, your performance in your first 3 months on duty skyrocketed my expectations. Your unwavering dedication to serving humanity is far beyond comprehension. You have handled all the critical medical cases we had assigned to you successfully. Over the years, we have watched you work in and out of season to save life, even at this time when you were supposed to be down emotionally and psychologically due to the loss of your child. But you were still 100% active on duty, saving lives. So, today we decided to celebrate the one and only mighty Dr. Sasa, that had never failed on any assignments. So with a standing ovation, let's sing happy birthday song to celebrate her. The celebration was short and very beautiful. Then Dr. Sasa responded to them. She started by appreciating them as individuals for giving her a comfortable environment which afforded her the opportunity to look away from her physical disability and focus on the purpose for her living. She rounded up by saying, "There wouldn't have been me without you, thank you." The management presented a birthday gift to her as they ended the celebration. On getting back to her office, Dr. Hakim came into her office to congratulate her once again for her birthday. Sasa said, "The bravery and the mighty Sasa that was celebrated today was made possible by you, and I won't stop talking about it. Today's celebration was double because JJ made it at last. He called me Mom this morning. Thank you for that idea. He would have been dead by stabbing, and I would have lost him, and that experience would have turned me to vegetable, and the me today wouldn't have been celebrated. Dr. Hakim said, "We have been on duty risking our lives to save other people's lives, so putting in our best to save our own very lives should be our utmost desire. I owe you that duty and I will do it again and again." Dr. Sassa said, "I'm short of words," and both of them laughed. As Dr. Hakim got up to go back to his office, Dr. Sassa said, "I would be out of the office for a while. I must go home to my husband to get a birthday peck." Dr. Hakim smiled and said it's quite necessary.
At the prison.
Mrs. Tawler had been sitting down at her usual place waiting for Caleb, the official, that always bring the phone to her so as to update him the call time schedule for the day. She said, "He's been keeping to time and I wonder why he's not yet here. Today's call is quite important, and if we don't communicate today, things may go wrong." As she was murmuring and talking to herself, one of the officials came to her and said, "Caleb won't be on duty today. He had an emergency to attend to, and he asked me to come and see you for the call time schedule for today." Mrs. Tawler was very happy as she said, "Caleb is such a wonderful person. I must tell my daughter to increase his stuff today." She then told the official, "Thanks so much. I was worried already about him, thinking he wouldn't come, and that would have caused me a lot of damages, because today's conversation is very important and I can't afford to miss it. The time is 1:39. I hope you understand that. Please be here at least 5 minutes before the time. I will surely compensate you for this kindness of yours. You just saved my ass." The official answered, "Ma, I will try to keep to time and beat all odds. By the way, my name is Math." Mrs. Tawler said, "Unaware of the risk involved in getting this done for me. I know it's not legal, but please you need to help me out."
At Sassa's house.
"Who's at the door, please?" Jack asked. Sassa answered, "I'm the one, my sweetie." Jack opened the door shivering, looking uncomfortable, and Sassa said, "I know you don't expect me to be back home today. It's written all over you, but I'm here after all." She sat on the bed and asked Jack to come sitting by her side. She then said to him romantically, "I missed us. I think it's time we put our challenges behind us and move on. I came home today to talk to you and to pull you out of your shell." Jack was sitting down beside her looking confused. She further said, "Since we got married you've been the first to wish me happy birthday, but today is different. You haven't said anything to me. Jack, my love, is it that bad?" Jack responded and said, "Sassa, I'm going through a lot, and you won't understand. In fact, I didn't remember that today is your day. The death of JJ pulled so much out of me, and I'm not sure of us being okay again. So many things are going on with me right now." Sassa got emotional and said, "What if you find out that JJ is alive?" Jack cut in and said, "You don't play with things like this. You should know what to say to me that won't compound my problems." Then Sassa said, "Well, anything is possible when we don't lose hope on it. Jack, my love, I actually came home to get my birthday peck." Their conversation was paused when Zara's phone started ringing. Sassa said, "That should be my sister's ringing tone." Jack was dumbfounded with a confused look on him while Sassa was trying to search for it. Sassa found it on the couch and asked, "What's her phone doing here?" Jack said, "She's been having issues with her phone lately, so she gave it to me today to check it out for her." Sassa said, "No wonder, I have been trying to reach her since yesterday, but it wasn't connecting. Let me give her the phone and wish her a happy birthday. I will be back shortly." As soon as she left the room, Zara came out from the wardrobe and ran into the utility room where the washing machine was kept, which was closer to the kitchen, and was panting as someone that just escaped the lion's den. Sassa asked her mom Patricia for Zara. Patricia said she should be in the room. "She left me here, promised to be back." Sassa said, "I just came out from her room. She's not there." As Sassa was going to the kitchen, calling her name, She answered from the utility room and said, "Birthday babe, you're back home." Sasa said, "Yes, I came home to freshen up," and she stretched out her phone to her as she said, "Someone called you, but it has stopped ringing." Zara said, "I gave it to Jack to check on it. It's being malfunctioning." Sasa dragged her to the parlor, and then she asked Patricia and Jack to wish them happy birthday, as she said it's better to be late than never.
At the police station.
The police were working tirelessly on JJ's case because the management of International Hospital was becoming impatient with them, and they threatened to withdraw the case from them and give it to the DSs. As they were in there working on the data they had gathered so far, the sergeant at the gate came in and said someone brought this parcel for Inspector Pella. Inspector Pella collected the parcel and opened it. He was surprised when he saw that it was only a pen drive that was in there. He tried to check for an address or any write-up on the envelope, but he couldn't find any. He called the sergeant that collected it at the gate and asked how he got the parcel. He said a young lady brought it here and said, "I should give it to you, sir." The pen drive was plugged into a computer, and a girl's voice said, "JJ's killer wasn't a man as captured by the CCTV camera. The killer was a woman. What you saw on the footage was our behind-the-scene plan." The police stared at each other and were looking confused. Inspector Pella said, "I know something was fishy at that spot, as I said before. The dagger, the kitchen knife and the light out were not a coincidence. I think they are all part of the game. But who is this person, and what's her position in this case?" One of the policemen said, "Maybe we should confuse the public with our findings from henceforth." All nodded their heads to agree to that.
At Bobby's house.
Bobby was sitting at the sitting room ruminating about Sass's condition, and was busy thinking on what to do to help out. He said, "There must be something that I can do in this case to make a difference. I can't just sit here feeling pity alone for her without taking any action that can provide a solution. This may be an opportunity for me to reconnect us back as a family." He snapped out of the thought when he heard Kamsi's footsteps coming towards him. Kamsi told Bobby, "I'm finished. I just received a call now that Kayla had been rushed to the hospital from school and the doctors requested for money before they would commence treatment on her." Bobby asked, "Was that the reason you have been looking worried since yesterday?" She answered, "Yes. The money was huge and I have been thinking about who to talk to for it, since my account was having issues." Bobby asked, "How much is the money?" Kamsi pretended as if she didn't hear what he said. Bobby asked again, "How much is the money?" She said, "It's just 500,000. I will return it back to you as soon as I rectify the issue with my account." "That's too much. What happened to Kayla?" "I hope it is not life-threatening sickness," Bobby asked. Kamsi said, "I didn't even bother to ask them about the nature of the sickness. I only want to save my child first." Bobby said, "I can only part with 100,000 right now. I would need Patricia's signature to get a higher amount." Kamsi was furious as she reacted to Bobby's statement. "So you mean your wife has to sign before I get money from you? What kind of thing is this? The situation at hand is time-bound, and you are here telling me that Patricia must be the one to sign the check." Bobby was surprised at her reaction and he said, "Don't ever try to influence my family's matter again. Know your boundary and stay there. Patricia is my wife, and it's our decision to run our affairs the way we wish. She has suffered so much in this relationship due to my insensitivity, and I won't allow that again, never again." Kamsi checked the time, and the countdown was about 20 minutes to go. She then asked Bobby calmly, "What can you do to help me? Save my child, please." Bobby replied, "The best would have been to move Kayla from that hospital to Sass's hospital. Patricia can influence that for you, and the medical treatment would definitely be free." Kamsi responded, "Where else can I get the balance of 400,000? It must be now. Bobby, please, call any of your friends to get this money for me." Kamsi's phone was ringing and she was reluctant to pick the call. Bobby said, "Pick your call while I think of what to do to arrest this situation." Kamsi was shivering and her voice was shaking as she said, "Hello. The money would be transferred any moment from now, please." A male voice said, "I just called to tell you, time up." Kamsi shouted, "No, no, time can't be up. Please, please. I beg you, please, I'm on it already." Bobby got emotional and snatched the phone out of her hand with the mindset to intervene, and by the time he looked at the phone screen in order to talk to the caller, he was surprised at what he saw.
Joy's case.
Joy was taken to a very far place, and she was kept in a dark room. Since she got there, no food, no water was given to her, and also no one has spoken to her. She regretted announcing her upcoming wedding event on social media without completing her task first, thinking it was her boss that brought her there, but she was surprised and so afraid when the room door was unlocked, and she heard the voice of her first husband, Tony. "Hello, my beautiful estranged wife. It's been a long, long time." A Yoruba adage said, "If a lie has gone for 20 years, the truth will catch up with it in just one day." Tony got angry and called one of his boys to unmask her mouth. As he said, "There is a lot I need to hear from her." "Where is my child?" Tony asked. Joy's voice was shaking as she said there was no child. "I wasn't pregnant for you." Tony said, "That can't happen. I still have the pregnancy test result and the DNA results that lured me into marrying you. Remember, I never wanted to marry you, but you threatened to blackmail me if I don't. And we did an elaborate wedding ceremony because of my parents' social status, only to get everyone food and embarrassed after 3 weeks into the marriage when you asked for divorce. Me and my parents did everything to appease you, but you decided to drag my family name in the mud." Tony shouted, "Where is my baby? You parted with a good percentage of my wealth for the sake of the baby. So where is my baby? I need to see my child now." Joy responded, "I wasn't pregnant. I wasn't carrying your child, Tony. Please forgive me." "Forgiveness, my foot. For a decade, I was struggling to be back on my feet. The damage you did to my life was beyond repairs, but I later focused on one thing, which was the hope of getting back my child when I'm fully back on my feet. I'm back now, and I need to see my child."
At the prison.
Mrs. Tawler was already sitting at her usual place waiting for Math, the new prison official that would bring phone for her, while Math was with his boss, and both were having conversations about how to get the call recorded smartly without the caller being alerted. At exactly 5 minutes to the scheduled time, Math arrived with the phone and handed it to her when it was 1 p.m. The phone rang and the caller started talking as usual, while Mrs. Tawler only said, "As planned," at the end of the call. The call lasted for 1 hour 10 minutes. Mrs. Tawler appreciated Math and reminded him of the next time scheduled. Math and 2 officials reported back to the boss, and one of the other officials said, "We got her recorded fully. We were there before she arrived."
At Daniel's office.
Daniel's receptionist came into his office with a parcel in his hand and told Daniel, "Sir, the gateman brought this parcel for you." Daniel responded, "Oh, let me have it. I have been expecting it. This is a new project that came in yesterday. I was given every other details except the pictures. So, I requested for pictures to work it, thanks." As he opened the parcel, he flipped through some pictures in it and said, "It seems I know one of them. This face looked familiar." And when he gave it a second look, He said this is Kamzi, Roslyn roommate, but he wasn't 100% sure. Then, he picked up the file of the project to confirm the name, and he was surprised to see that their path crossed again. Daniel became furious as he remembered what she made him go through, the trauma and agony she caused him. Then he said, as he was staring at the picture, "I've waited for this all my life. It's because of you I decided to get trained as a private investigator by the CIA and FBI. I established a private investigation firm all because of you. The payback time has come, and I would make sure you stay behind bars for good and forever." At Sass's house, Jack was in the kitchen preparing Sass's best meal, while Sassa was sleeping in the room as instructed by Jack. Patricia went to the kitchen to give a helping hand to him. Jack refused vehemently as he told Patricia that it's his tradition to cook for his wife on her birthday. "So please, Ma, allow me to do it all alone." Zara was busy thinking about what Sassa said concerning JJ, and she asked, "What's she talking about?" The news of JJ's demise was everywhere and the police were on the case. The picture of the incident that showed the knife on his chest was even on the air. So what's she talking about? "I won't allow her to spoil my show in any way. I must move to the next in my list today." Patricia knocked at her door and said, "Birthday menu is ready." All of them sat at the dining table waiting for Sassa. Jack said, "Excuse me, let me check on her again." As he was closer to the room door, Sassa came out and told Jack, "I'm sorry for keeping you waiting." Both walked to the dining, and together, they ate the meal. A few minutes later, when all of them were watching TV, Sassa started feeling funny, and she told Jack that she's having stomach upset. Jack said, "Maybe you need to have some rest. You've been stressed lately." Patricia said almost the same, and asked if there is any drug she could take that could relax her system. Sassa left for the room to lay on the bed shortly after Jack came inside to check on her and discovered that her breathing was no more normal. He quickly carried her out into the car and Patricia went with them to the hospital. On getting to the hospital, they were all surprised that Sassa, that left the hospital healthy a few hours ago, was rushed back to the hospital, almost lifeless. Meanwhile, the test results showed that Dr. Sassa ate food poison.
To be continued. Stay tuned for Part 7. Next on The Mysterious Twins.
My name is Andrew. I'm one of the teachers at Bristol Montessori Nursery in primary school. I'm here to tell you something about JJ, your son.
If Gigi is alive, consider yourself dead.
Please subscribe and watch more interesting videos on this channel.